are now joining Children of the Watch.
That's right. It's the #1 podcast in the galaxy for all things Star Wars television. I am your host, Alex Maxwell, and joining me, as always, is...
Mac Lacey. Alex, look at us. Look at this.
Wow.
We look nice. If you're listening on the podcast, we have kind of upgraded our look a little bit.
Yeah.
We got some new lighting and stuff like that. So thanks, patrons, for making all this possible. This is your Patreon dollars at work. So
look how crisp and cool we look. And look at my Mandalorian helmet over here.
It's nice.
Look at it. Toro's still there. I've got a picture that my niece drew me of Baby Yoda.
Adorable Grogu.
Adorable.
Yep.
So if you're joining us for the first time, we are formerly called the Mandalorian Watch. We were a after show for the Mandalorian that we do scene by scene breakdowns of every single episode. And I mean, scene by scene, we go over it all. And then we theorize, we give our thoughts as we do that. And in the middle of the week, we do voicemail hotline episodes in between those episodes. And we did that for season 1 and season 2. You can find all those episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or pretty much any podcast catcher that you use. We're on there. But we decided to transition our name from the Mandalorian Watch to Children of the Watch, a Star Wars show, to better cover the upcoming live-action Star Wars TV shows. And one of those is the Book of Boba Fett, which is exactly why we're here, Mac.
Yes. So this is normally we like to do a way too early predictions episode. This isn't exactly way too early. It's still early because we don't have a trailer, we don't have a teaser, anything like that. But there's a little later in the game than we normally do these.
Right.
But nevertheless, basically what we're here to do is just tell you at this point in time, without having seen a trailer or a teaser or any footage really for the Book of Boba Fett, what we think the show's gonna entail, maybe where the story's gonna go, what the tone, the feel, all of that is. We're just gonna kind of give our thoughts and our predictions and our theories about how that stuff's gonna go in December.
That's right, and we're going to hear a lot from you guys, from our patrons, and our fans who have called into the voicemail hotline. They knew to do that because they were following us on Twitter and Instagram at COTWatch. And then, of course, you can join our Patreon for extra bonus episodes, especially when we're in season. We do extra voicemail hotline episodes, and that's patreon.com/The Mandalorian Watch. So we would love for you guys to join us over there. But I'm kind of ready to get started in talking about the Book of Boba Fett. But if you're looking for Star Wars Visions content, we've got that on our YouTube as well. So make sure you check us out on youtube.com and just search Children of the Watch and you'll see us pop up. And our Visions content is over there. But I think we're ready to talk the Book of Boba Fett.
I think so. Let's dive in.
Cool. So we asked people to call into our voicemail hotline, and so we have a very special person for our very first voicemail hotline for the Before the Trailer Book of Boba Fett edition. Let's do it.
Mandalorian Watch, it's Mandalorian Mark, just giving you guys a call. I hope you guys have been having a safe, healthy, and happy summer. I am so excited for the Book of Boba Fett and your guys' coverage of it. You guys are going to crush it. Too early predictions. I think that it's going to be bounty hunter heavy focus. But I don't think we're going to see a lot of it in the trailer. I don't think Rodriguez and co want to ruin it for us in the trailer whenever that comes out. I think we're going to see a lot of Fennec, a lot of Boba, a lot of Slave One action. I think it's going to be a lot of that, just a lot of action shots, maybe some like criminal, low key player snippets here and there. I think that at the end of the trailer we might get a little, big tease. I'm going with Din just showing up and like calling for Boba's help or vice versa. I think that's what's going to be. So that's my too early prediction. But I am so excited for what you guys bring to the table. You couldn't have anything more up your alley. And also, I am so excited for Visions. It's going to be such a great show. Not everything might be for me, but, it looks beautiful. and I'm excited to see what it brings to the Star Wars universe. Again, I hope you guys are doing great. I hope everything's well, and I cannot wait for you guys' new content. May the Force be with you, and for Mandalore.
Man, what better way to start off a predictions episode? For anybody who's new to the show, Mark is a very familiar voice. He's kind of a day one. He's been with us since the inception of the show. So always great to hear Mandalorian Mark's voice.
And definitely, like, I love Mark's attitude about Star Wars Visions, and I think it's right. After witnessing Star Wars Visions, we know not every episode's going to be for everybody, but you can find something in Star Wars Visions that you will enjoy, so definitely check that out, and then check out our content on that. But yeah, okay, so he's saying that in the Book of Boba Fett, we're possibly going to get Din in the trailer. What do you think about that, Mac?
I think that would be a smart move. I mean, The Mandalorian is really the biggest hit Star Wars has had recently. I think it's safe to say it's with just the most widespread appeal, right?
Right.
And so to that familiar character, to show him in the marketing materials, I mean, you've already got Boba Fett. I don't think you need a ton more name recognition, but
right.
It can't hurt for maybe somebody's just now getting into Star Wars and the name Boba Fett doesn't carry the same weight for them, then Din would be a perfect, if you're kind of new to the Star Wars fandom and everything, Din might be a good draw for that crowd,
And I think we both know from experience, just doing this podcast for season 1 and season 2 of The Mandalorian, there's a lot of new Star Wars fans that joined the Star Wars community from The Mandalorian. So to include Din in the Book of Boba Fett trailer even could really make them, I gotta see this, because from everything that we know, from everything that they've described, the Book of Boba Fett, it is like season 2.5 of The Mandalorian. So
yeah,
pretty excited.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
I think it's likely Din might be in the trailer. Especially
I hope
since
so. That would be cool.
I don't think that's exactly a secret at this point that's a possibility,
No, yeah. I mean, surely we all kind of know that Din is going to be in the Book of Boba Fett. And that makes sense. The world that they're building through The Mandalorian, now the Book of Boba Fett, and later in Ahsoka. And then the big crossover, of course. They want to keep that momentum going. So that only makes sense to let people know about that who might not know. Now, in terms of, he kind of said something towards the beginning that I do want to hit on, because we know that Disney Plus Day is going to be on November 12th. And they've announced that through Disney Plus Day that there's going to be a special Star Wars look specifically at Boba Fett and kind of looking at the legend of his character, how popular he is. It kind of reminds me of, honestly, Marvel's been doing this thing called Marvel Legends. Right before like a show comes out, they'll kind of highlight a character and focus on that character. Yeah. That's kind of the way that I take it, but a lot of people have taken it as that's when we're going to get our first look at the Book of Boba Fett. And I mean, that's definitely possible, but what are your thoughts on that? When do you think we'll see a trailer for the Book of Boba Fett?
I just think that seems too late in the game,
Yeah, it does.
That is, because that's cutting it super close. That's like less than a month, right?
Yeah, I guess it depends on when in December.
In December, yeah.
Right? If it's the last Wednesday in December, then it's like that's almost the same time frame as when the Mandalorian season 2 trailer came out and then season 2 came out, right?
Yeah. It's tricky. I tend to think we're going to see something about, before that, at least a teaser. We might get a big official trailer drop with that, that would make sense. That's kind of keeping with the timelines that they do, like for the feature films and stuff like that. But like, I think we'll get a teaser or at least some, even like a behind the scenes sizzle reel or something like they do sometimes. Something before that.
I don't know. Like, that just seems, like you said, it seems so late in the game to do your first trailer for the Book of Boba Fett on November 12th. Like, honestly, the whole reason we're doing this show right now is because I felt like, oh man, this trailer might come sooner rather than later, especially after the Hawkeye trailer came out, which Hawkeye is coming out around the same time as the Book of Boba Fett. And so if they're promoting that, why not go ahead and start promoting the Book of Boba Fett like in October, Yeah. So that's kind of why we decided to do this episode. But then you get that news of November 12th, and it's like, well, maybe this is the way too early, Book of Boba Fett prediction. So I don't know. It just, that doesn't seem super wise to me. But again, it's not a movie. It's a TV show, so they do market those a little bit differently, which we have learned the hard way, unfortunately. But we'll see. I'm hopeful that we'll at least get a teaser of the Book of Boba Fett in October. I don't think that's off the plate yet.
Yeah. No, I tend to think we'll see something in October at least.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so now we're going to jump into our patron Discord that we have, which you can get access to, patreon.com/TheMandalorianWatch. We have a lot of fun over there. Just the incredible community that is built on the Patreon is just, like, honestly, it's one of my favorite things about podcasting is just you guys. So
and we have the best collection of people. Everybody like in our community is just the best. So
they really are. Okay, I'm gonna read a few predictions from one of the threads that I created for this show. So here are some of the predictions that they dropped in here. Razzler says we will hear Cad Bane's voice or see his silhouette in the trailer.
Interesting. So Cad Bane, and I think Cad Bane's maybe going to come up again later. We'll see.
Yeah, probably.
But Cad Bane's an interesting pick. He's in that world, the underworld, the bounty hunting stuff. He would be old at that point. I don't know about Duros aging cycles, right?
Yeah.
But he would be up there, right? If it's anything analogous to human life cycles.
I feel like we talked about this on the Patreon at one point of like an old Duros is considered 70, which is around what he would be at this point in the timeline.
Right.
But I don't think that's a hard, like, that's something you can change in canon. I think that is not something that's very concrete in canon.
Yeah.
You can, let's just go ahead and change that. Yeah.
They've made bigger changes to canon with the live action shows already. So
right. So Cad Bane, I would want him older, but I don't think he's too old to operate. If Harrison Ford is still making Indiana Jones movies, Cad Bane can be in the Book of Boba Fett. So
that's fair. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to call that the Harrison Ford rule. Like, anyone who's younger than Harrison Ford can do whatever they want.
That's right.
That man keeps crashing planes. He just cannot stop crashing planes.
He is testing fate every day. He is testing fate. And he wins every time.
Yep.
I'm going to do another one. Graham says Daniel Logan will make a surprise return as young Boba wearing Jango's armor for the first time.
Interesting. I do hope that he gets a piece of this, right? I mean, I feel like he deserves to be a part of the legacy of this character, you know?
The dude loves Boba Fett.
Yeah. And, I mean, just being a part of, especially as a child actor, like, I feel like he's been put through too much and, like, held up to the public scrutiny already too much not to get another chance to play the character, you know, like he's earned it.
Yeah. It would be cool. It would be cool to see him in some sort of capacity either way.
Yeah.
I think.
Like adolescent. He at his current age could play like a older teenager to young adult type Boba easy, you know?
Yeah. Okay, let me get one more interesting. This one's a bit of a stretch, I think. This one's a bit of a stretch.
Lay it on me.
This is Trix Scarata. Rex will be there at some point with young Boba.
All right.
That would be super confusing for people, I think.
Yes. That would be a lot of Tamora Morrison.
Yeah, it would.
which like I love him, great, but yeah, that'd be a lot. I feel like they're gonna have to be very careful, with how they portray Boba and Jango at different points of their life. Because I mean, I can almost bet you that Tamora is going to play Jango at some point during the series. Like I just think that's probably in the cards based on bringing up Jango's legacy in The Mandalorian. They had it, with his chain code and everything like that. Like, I feel like we're going to get that. So I feel like they would have to be very careful how they portray the same actor as so many different characters at so many different points in time, And I feel like adding Rex in there just really gets stuff complicated.
Yeah. Though I do hope at some point we do get to see a live action Rex. I think people would really enjoy that. But I think that would be more for Ahsoka. I think
100%. That would be a more appropriate place to get what would inevitably be the last days of Rex's life, right?
Yeah. I mean, it would have to be.
Because they're on advanced schedules anyway. Like he would be ancient by his standards, or he figured out he did a Blade Runner type thing and figured out how to reverse the aging process.
I think a good step around that though is like have him in a hologram. So it's like we get to see a live action Rex, but it's not like he's still alive. You know what I mean?
No, I get that. Yeah. Or you could do it in a dream sequence in a way that would make it stand apart, or like a flashback, something like that.
And if you have no idea who Rex is, he's like the clone captain from the Clone Wars, and now he was in the Bad Batch, and then he was in Star Wars Rebels as well. So he's a big character that a lot of people love, and so he is a clone. But a lot of people have kind of been expecting him to be in live action at some point.
Yeah.
So
there was a big section of time where people were debating on whether or not he was in Return of the Jedi in the formation of Rebel troopers. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's not Rex.
Yeah. So, all right, let's do the second voicemail.
This episode of Children of the Watch is brought to you by KeepTheWatch.com. Do you like our show? Do you want a t-shirt, coffee mug, or fanny pack with our name on it? Head on over to KeepTheWatch.com, home of the best merch in the Outer Rim. Not only can you get our logo on just about anything you could want, we're constantly updating the store with limited edition designs as well. So thanks so much in advance for supporting the show, and now, back to the episode.
Hey guys, this is Julio from Chicago. I am a proud Patreon member. Enjoy your show. I even enjoy the tank top that I got from you guys, Children of the Watch shirt. I opted for a tank top version to show off the sick guns. My prediction is that I know a lot of people are speculating that Omega may be showing up in the Book of Boba Fett. I predict that one of the surviving members of the Bad Batch will be with her. Who will it be? I hope it's Wrecker. I think he would make for great live TV, but honestly, any of them could. So that's my prediction. Keep the watch.
So interesting. That kind of goes almost hand in hand with that conversation we just had in terms of confusing a general audience of who's this that looks exactly like Boba Fett and Jango Fett. Even though we know, clones, they're all clones, right? To have one of the members of the Bad Batch with Omega. Now, do you think Omega is a possibility? And if you're unaware and you're listening right now and you don't know who Omega is, she's basically the main character from the Bad Batch animated series. And spoiler alert, we learn that she is basically Boba Fett's sister.
Yeah.
So do you think she's a possibility for this show?
I think she definitely is. There's been some art floating around that shows a very emotional reunion between Boba and Omega, or maybe that's not even a reunion, who knows, but
yeah.
I think it's possible. Look, they've been setting up this whole cloning thing.
Yeah.
Right. Cloning is so hot right now, as we have merch that states keepthewatch.com if you want to buy some merch. Get that Vance refrigeration t-shirt.
There it is.
That Alex has. Yeah. Uh, yeah, but cloning is a big central theme in everything right now. Omega seems to be a very integral part of that. Some kind of linchpin in that whole thing. So I think it's very possible, especially if we're gonna get into matters of legacy and things like that, which it seems like that's inevitable. I think Omega could definitely show up. What do you think about it? That's kind of the first part of the question. Is let's just talk about Omega being in the show at all first.
Yeah. So, when the Bad Batch was coming out, I was almost convinced, like, this seems like it's set up for the Book of Boba Fett and in so many ways to have her show up. And don't get me wrong, I would love for her to show up.
100%.
But
yeah.
as time has gone by from the ending of the Bad Batch, the less I feel like she is going to be in the Book of Boba Fett. Now, I'm not saying we won't see her in live action at some point. I think we will see her in live action at some point.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's room in the story for her right now. Now, if this is a several season type of thing, yes. But in terms of having her show up, I don't think so right now because when we get into, there's some potential spoiler stuff that we're going to talk about at the very end. We're not going to talk about it here. We're not even going to address any rumor stuff like that. We'll talk about that at the very end so you don't have to listen to it if you don't want to.
We'll give a big old spoiler warning hole to do.
But I do not think Omega is going to be in it as of right now. But if she was, I don't think that any of the Bad Batch would be with her because honestly, for the same reason I would not expect Rex is because they're so old. They should be so old at that point. But if one of them was going to show up with her, I would want it to be Crosshair.
Ooh, just so it really complicates
right,
what we expect for season 2, right? of the Bad Batch. Yeah, Crosshair would be good. I would love. I just really like Hunter. I'm kind of attached to Hunter a little bit.
Yeah.
Wrecker, I love Wrecker. Would love to see him. Tech is really good. I just don't think that would be his role as a character.
Tamora Morrison would love playing Wrecker, I think.
Yeah, just to get to like throw people around and stuff.
Yeah.
Be all big. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Crosshair would be the most narratively interesting, I think. But I'm gonna go with Hunter if I'm gonna just who I would want to see.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll see. I remember when we did one of these for the Mandalorian season 2, like we almost did an exact show like this of like asking, where's the trailer? When is the trailer going to come out? And literally like a week after we dropped it, the trailer came out and we were wrong about a lot of things. So
Almost
we're
everything.
kind of,
as these episodes tend, that's generally how they go.
I mean, there's nothing to go off of right now. So, I mean, literally just that teaser at the end of the Mandalorian, but, like we're partly doing this just to put it out in the world to see if we can create that magic again of getting a trailer. So hopefully that works. So we're going back to the Patreon Discord, and this is what the Companion 188 says. This is a giant shot in the dark, but I think we'll see more of an honorable Boba. He'll go after those who wronged him, but also possibly make amends with those he had wronged.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that idea, but based off of what we saw at the end of the season 2 of The Mandalorian, I don't know.
To me, so there's like a way in which I agree. As far as a more honorable Boba, I do think we'll see a Boba who is more driven by anything other than self-interest.
Okay.
or even
Yeah.
like immediate self-interest, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
going
yeah,
to
yeah.
be this there's going to be something, some kind of motivation, some kind of crisis of character for him that's going to make this not just another hunt. This is not just, we're not just watching Boba Fett go after bounties and that's it, right? There's something to do with, and we'll share our big master theories and predictions and stuff at the end. That's coming. So I have a lot to say on this matter later. But I think in a way we will see a more honorable Boba. I do not think that means he's going to be any nicer of a Boba, any more kind of a
Right.
Boba, or any more morally sound of a Boba, if that makes sense. Like not morally, but like he's still going to be just wasting people left and right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So like
what we saw in The Mandalorian, I think, is still consistent with Boba Fett, right? Like, I do think we did see a more honorable Boba Fett in that, but he also smashed people's faces in with a gaffy stick.
100%. And we will get a lot of that.
Yeah.
A lot of that. But I think there's going to be something more. He's going through something in this show. And
yeah,
we'll talk about what we think that might be later.
Ooh. Okay. One more from the Discord. I'd like to see some live action Hut content, which kind of sounds risque when you say it that way, Heather. But
I'm for it. I love a Hut, and I would like to see Huts brought to life with the current special effects technologies.
Yeah.
Like I would love to see a mix of practical Hut and CGI Hut to get the best of both worlds. I don't know that we've really gotten that marriage right yet.
Yeah.
So I'm for it. And story-wise, I love a Hut. Like, they're just mafia dons,
I can't imagine this show without at least one Hut. This show is going to have the Huts in it somehow. There is no way you're doing a Boba Fett show without a Hut, whether that be Jabba in a flashback or Jabba's son.
Yep.
I mean, that's possible. Or like, I would like to see a different Hut, almost
Hut.
like that we saw like in Aftermath.
Nema.
That Hut.
That Hut is terrifying.
Terrifying. It's almost like a worm.
She's like the first Hut.
Yeah.
Nema was gnarly. I would love to see something like that. But yeah, maybe somebody comes in to take Jabba's place, kind of.
Yeah.
And maybe in that they wronged Boba somehow, or I don't, who knows? But there's gonna be a Hut.
That would be interesting. Especially, I don't know, like, I honestly am kind of interested to see, like, if Jabba's son is involved with this in any way, because if this is the show about legacy, like we're both kind of thinking, that would make sense to me.
Yeah.
Stinky the Hut.
I was like, does he have a name other than Stinky at this point?
Yeah, he does. I'll look it up during this next voice note.
Fair enough.
All right, let's do it.
Cool.
Hey, what's going on, dudes? It is the Googleizer from Patreon, calling with what I feel is a pretty realistic expectation of the Book of Boba Fett. I think we can expect, pretty much without question, that there will be animated Jawa shorts. So yeah, just going with that expectation, I don't believe we will be disappointed. Cheers, and I love the show. Have a good one. Peace.
So the Googleizer is on our Patreon. Number one, I commend him for sticking with this shtick for so long. Like, since he has been a part of our Patreon, every opportunity to mention Jawas or how to incorporate Jawas more into Star Wars, he has taken that opportunity. So number one, I appreciate him for that. Number two, I love that his voice is so deep that he sounds like Deep Throat. Like this is like a voice mask to hide who he really is. Honestly, at this point, I think Our candidates for this person is Jon Favreau. I think this is Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni, or even George Lucas.
Maybe.
That's my theories.
Maybe. Yeah, it could be Kathleen Kennedy. It could be.
It could be.
Could be anybody. I mean,
it could be. At
this point, Pedro Pascal.
Let's get the man some more Jawas then.
I think so. He just really chapter 2 of The Mandalorian just really inspired a deep love of the Jawa people and culture.
I don't blame him. I mean, they're pretty cool.
He's a champion, you know. I love it. Look, here's the thing. When I first heard that, my mind immediately went to the fact that Boba Fett first showed up as an animated character in the Star Wars Holiday Special.
That is a good point.
Was he an action figure first? He might have been an action figure first, but his first screen appearance was in the Holiday Special. I don't.
It would be cool.
Realistically think there's going to be animated shorts in the Book of Boba Fett, but like I would go on that ride.
I'm down.
If they decide to go that way, I'll follow.
I definitely do think that there is something there to do like a short 2 to 3 minute series on Jawas and like what they do, like an animated series, like a fun kids animated series for Jawa. Like that's a good idea though. I will say. Now I did see who Jabba's son was. I was right in my mind, but I didn't want to say it. Rhoda the Hutt.
Gotcha. Rhoda. All right.
Punky Muffin is what Jabba called him.
Yeah.
Can we, man,
it's rough.
That Clone Wars movie, to start off Clone Wars, what a rise Clone Wars had, right?
Yeah,
like
what a
to
glow
start
up.
from
Yeah.
to start from there and then go to where
Season
it ended.
7. Yeah. The movie. So watch.
Yeah.
I want to watch the movie and then watch the very last episode back to back and have to go to the hospital because of the whiplash.
Yeah. Okay. Last one for the Patreon Discord. And I kind of combined some of them because a lot of people said some of the same stuff. This is from Trix Socrata again. He says, given that Filoni directed one of the episodes for the Book of Boba Fett, probably not too unlikely we see either Ahsoka, Wolf, which is another clone. Yeah, I don't know. Hera. Feels like a given for Fennec. I think we'll see Fennec in almost every episode.
One official piece of media we have relating to this show she's in. So,
and then Omega is likely. Now, again, if you did not watch The Bad Batch, Fennec was in The Bad Batch as well, and she had a lot of connections with Omega. So, I mean...
Right. That's a big reason why I think it's possible. I tend to agree that it would be like a next, if there's a Book of Boba Fett season 2 or something like that, which I don't think there will be. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a standalone thing, outside of its ties into like the Mandalorian and everything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does tend to be like it seems like there's too much to do already.
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
but yeah, we'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's do the next voicemail.
Hey, Alex and Mac, this is Joden. This is Jeff Joden on the Discord. I just want to call in my theory that I think we will see Jaster Muriel in the Book of Boba Fett, and I'm curious if y'all think that as well, and if so, who you think might play Jaster. So that's my current theory, and looking forward to the next pod. Keep the watch.
I like that. Thank you, Jeff. I like that. So if you're not familiar with who Jaster Muriel is, he is from the old EU, so the old expanded universe. But I believe he was mentioned in the Chain Code.
In Mandoa, he
Yeah.
was listed in that. I'm pretty sure somebody did that translation job and brought that to our attention.
So
I mean, that's
Jaster Morill's basically like the guy who trained Django and took care of Django.
yeah, like took him in, adopted. He wasn't
He's a foundling.
Yeah.
I mean,
he
but
might
even
have,
in
was
the
he
EU,
conducting a
he
raid
was.
like on Django's village and stuff? Yeah. So it's the exact foundling thing. Which
So in the EU, Jaster Morill is a Mandalorian. They basically destroy Django's original home. Django's left there. Jaster Morill takes him in as if, I mean, they don't call him a foundling in the EU, but that's what he is, right? Like he's his adoptive son pretty much. And then he is raised to be Mandalorian, which it seems like that would be the logical conclusion for what happened in canon as well. So I kind of like that theory, to have Jaster Morill, basically Boba's grandfather. I mean,
yeah,
that's who it is.
yeah. I love it. I think it's likely. The fact that it was even planted as far back as in that chain code thing, and
That's true. That is true.
I really think we're gonna get a lot of flashback retrospective material.
That
in
would
this
mean
show.
like more Mandalorian stuff though too.
Yes.
You know, not just underworld stuff, but more Mando stuff too, which is
And-
cool.
I think with what we have of Boba Fett in The Mandalorian, they put a big emphasis, like almost right off the bat, when he really shows up and we start having a lot of conversations and stuff with him, you know, right off the bat, he's pretty much like, I am a Mandalorian because of this, and then like goes and explains it. They're very concerned right off the bat about kind of moving again the public perception of whether or not like Jango and Boba are Mandalorian or not.
Right.
We're gonna get that kind of stuff. We're gonna get Mandalorian stuff, and I'm very excited for it.
Let's go. Man, that would be incredible. In terms of who to play him, honestly, I've like this, I guess, almost feels cliche, but I always picture someone like a Jason Momoa type for Jaster Morill.
I go a different direction.
Okay.
I think of like a Kevin Costner, almost like that, like fatherly.
I was thinking Kevin Bacon at first. I was like,
Oh no.
what? I mean, I'll go there with you, but
like a fatherly, weathered,
I'm
been
down with
through
that.
it, but still has that like overall pleasant disposition. You know, somebody like that.
see, I don't think he's very pleasant though. in
No,
my
well,
mind.
I'm saying Kevin Costner has the
He's gruff.
the
He is
ruggedness when he wants it, which you know Jaster would have, but just like the kind of the matter of factness, you know.
Yeah.
I could also, if you wanted to go kind of a younger direction, you could almost do like a Jason Statham,
Okay.
because
I see what you're saying.
younger Jaster I think would be more gruff and like
Less
kind
pretty.
of hardened on the exterior.
Okay. I almost
and he
said
would
it.
like do all the action stuff, which
Almost said Ed Harris,
okay,
but like I would kind of want him to play Cad Bane.
yeah,
So
yeah. Woody Harrelson honestly would, to me, make a great Jaster Morill. He's already been,
but he's already been in Star
Beckett,
Wars.
though, so
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
that like has the
Yeah.
approachable, because like this is a man who took in a foundling and raised him.
Yeah, right,
You know,
right.
so like you have to have that aspect, but then you also have to have the Mandalorian warlord aspect. So
I don't know. Give us your thoughts.
yeah,
Call in the voicemail or email
leave a
us.
comment.
Leave a comment in the YouTube comments. By the way, like our YouTube and subscribe. If you're just a podcast listener, man, it would go so far for you to subscribe to our podcast. Oh my goodness, that would help us out so much, especially before we do the Book of Boba Fett like content, like when it's out. If you could subscribe, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool to get 2,000 before the show premieres.
That would be real dope. Just like a side note, just like on the show in general, this is kind of the first stage of like ramping up for game time on season for us, which will be like when the show is actually coming out. That's why we're stepping up the production value a little bit. We're trying some new stuff. So, yeah, we're going to be doing a lot more in general as the year goes on. So just keep an eye out.
Yeah, we're going to continue our Book of Boba Fett rewatch, talking about his Boba Fett's years during the Clone Wars and after, what he was doing during the original trilogy, and then what kind of happened between Empire and Return of the Jedi. So, and there's not much more else besides The Mandalorian. So, let's do our last voicemail.
Hey, Mac and Alex, children of the watch, if you will. It's your boy Rick, and
don't think they know me yet.
Okay, say your name.
Isaac.
All right, and we're going to give you a couple of predictions for the novel of Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett.
What was it?
All right, so Isaac has one. I'm going to let him go first, and then I'll tell you mine. Isaac, go.
Hondo. We're going to get Hondo.
And he's going to do what?
Let's say Boba Fett's looking for a job. He's out of credit, let's just say. He goes bankrupt. So he finds Hondo to give him this insane job, but he's paying really well. Because really, that's the only thing we ever see Hondo do.
Okay, so Hondo's going to give Boba Fett a job after Boba Fett turns into Broka Fett and he ain't got no more money. So that's a story. All right, here's my prediction. My predictions. We will hear Tamora Boba Fett say the word Tatooine no less than 30 times throughout the course of the show, however many episodes it is, eight or whatever.
30 any time.
Mac has not told us yet, but Carpool Kids are doing the theme song for the show. Congratulations, Carpool Kids. That's my other prediction. And it wouldn't be a prediction from me if there wasn't some Meeber Gascon in this show. So I think we're going to see Meeber Gascon is going to be inside one of the pit droids at Pelimoto's mechanic shop. And he's going to be the hero of everything. And when Cad Bane shows up at the end for the duel, Meeber's going to step in between them and be like, hey, y'all, don't fight.
And then he gets shot.
Let's be friends. And
He's going to get shot.
and that'll be the end of that because he's the hero. But I'll let you guys mull over that when Meeber Gascon shows up. Heck, when Cad Bane shows up, I'm going to be a blubbering mess because if there's a live-action Cad Bane, I'm going to turn into a fool. Okay, last one, and this was a real one. We're going to see the inside of the Rancor pit underneath Jabba's there. We're going to go back down there, and we're going to see that again. It'll be the first time since Return of the Jedi. That's my other prediction. We're going to see that. We're going to see some bones. There's going to be like a Gamorrean skull or something down there.
Oh, I know.
That's just what I want to see.
There's probably going to be a Hunanetter bones down there, from Tales from Vader's Castle.
Maybe. All right, but we're going to leave you with that. I hope it didn't take up too much time. And we'll talk soon. Keep the watch.
Yes. Isaac.
We have a
incredible job. You are the best, maybe our best caller ever.
You're going to take over the show when we're all washed.
Yes. Isaac did incredible. I love, number one, I really do like his theory that Hondo will be in it.
I do too. I think
that would
Isaac
be incredible.
could be onto something because here's the deal. Hondo, I feel like, is one of those people who are just always around, right? Yeah. No matter what age he is, he's just
like Chewbacca.
Chewie's around. Hondo is around.
Yes.
No matter what time period, like Hondo's timeless. He's ageless.
He's somewhere.
Yeah.
So, and again, if you don't know who Hondo Ohnaka is, he is from the Clone Wars. He was in Star Wars Rebels, but he's also the person that when you go to Galaxy's Edge, that is like the animatronic that on the Millennium Falcon ride. So that's him.
The pre-show for Smuggler's Run.
So he is basically, he is voiced by Winnie the Pooh.
Mm-hmm.
Same voice actor. Jim Cummings, I think his name is.
No, they actually got Winnie the Pooh like in the sound booth. The behind the scenes photos are just like
oh bother.
crazy.
So yeah, that's pretty good. I like Isaac's prediction. Boba Fett was a good one, Rick.
Boba
I
Fett.
appreciate that.
Oh, A plus.
That was-
Great work. Great work.
A golf clap.
Yeah, just-
Carpool Kids, congrats, Mac. You didn't even tell me about this.
Look, I've been busy, man. You
have
know,
been
like when I wasn't on the Bad Batch recap for a little bit in that.
You were composing music.
Been busy. What can I say?
Wow.
No,
Kids,
in all seriousness,
Spotify.
Serious. you did it for me. In all seriousness, if you don't know, I have a band, Carpool Kids. Listen to it. Thanks. Tell me what you think. Let me know what you think of the songs. Thanks.
I love your songs. I love them. Okay,
Come to a show if you're in Alabama.
Meeber Gascon, I love that Isaac is like, he'd be shot. Like if he got in the middle of those two people, he'd be shot.
Oh yeah, in a second. Just
in a second.
They wouldn't even know he was there though. He would just like get caught in the crossfire.
What would happen is this. He'd get shot in the crossfire, but he doesn't die, but they think he's dead. The pit droids drag his body out into the Dune Sea. Well, who else is out there who they shot, but they did not realize he's actually still alive, is Toro Calican. Toro Calican strangles Meeber Gascon to death and is on a revenge kick just like Boba Fett. It's just me now. It's just me on the podcast. Mac left. If you're listening, he's gone now. Let me add him back.
No.
Welcome back.
I was leaving. Anytime Toro comes up,
He's
feel the
always
need
here.
to make my exit.
He's always watching. So I do like the theory that we'll be in a Rancor pit again in Jabba's palace, that we'll get to kind of see the inside of it again, and the possible implications of that.
Learning about... I mean, Boba's like coming for some things, so maybe we'll learn something about the way Jabba ran things or something like that from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Rick and Isaac, thanks so much for your call.
Cool. All right, so do we want to get into our predictions now, or...
I think so. I think it's about that time. Do you want to go first?
Okay, so in terms of... You had said this earlier, and it made me like, yeah, I think that's the direction this show will go in. I think it's more about, like, on the surface, it's about revenge, right? Like on the surface, for some reason, Boba Fett feels wronged, and he's getting revenge. We saw that with Bib Fortuna. We're probably going to see that with several other crime syndicates and crime lords throughout the galaxy. But how has he been wronged? Like, it's got to be more than he just fell into a Rancor pit, right? We know from our Attack of the Clones rewatch that we did in 4 parts on the podcast and on YouTube, which is just nobody has covered the Attack of the Clones like we have.
Parts. we talked about Attack of the Clones for over 4 hours.
Nobody has broke down Attack of the Clones like we have. Nobody. I can say that for a fact. We know from that movie, Boba Fett loves Jango Fett more than anything on this planet. In the galaxy.
All he's ever had.
That is confirmed in season 2 of The Mandalorian, that he loves his dad. We see that all the time in the Clone Wars, right? He's trying to get revenge on Mace Windu. He's trying to prove that he is like his dad, like he's a bounty hunter like his dad. He is trying to live up to what his father expected, I think. Yeah. Okay? I think that's still a thing that's going to be happening in the Book of Boba Fett, but I think there's going to be another layer to it. So you've got him trying to connect with the shadow or the pressure of being Jango Fett's son. Well, if it's about legacy, I think he would need a son or daughter, Boba Fett. Right?
We have seen some sympathies towards fatherhood from Boba recently.
Right. And in the EU, he did have a daughter that he did not connect with very well, and she ended up being a bounty hunter as well. Boba Fett had her very young and then kind of lost track of her. And then in the EU, he ended up reconnecting with his granddaughter more. But I could see a situation where maybe Boba Fett settled down at some point, maybe before the original trilogy. He hangs up the helmet. He hangs up the half cape. And he starts a family, almost kind of like a Punisher type thing. His family's taken away from him, and he doesn't realize who did it until now. Or he hasn't been in the position to get that vengeance until now. But I don't think the son or daughter is dead.
So you think they're going to show up, and that's going to be...
Yeah. That is an out there theory, okay? But I think it's plausible.
You and I are not incredibly far off from what kind of our overarching premises are, honestly.
Okay. Well, let's hear it from you.
So you said you were like, at some point, Boba Fett decided to settle down, hanging up the helmet, hanging up the armor.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to do that. He hasn't ever done it. It's part of, if you look at Jango, he was trying to get out of the life, I think.
Yeah.
He was relying on Zam to do a lot of the dirty work, in Attack of the Clones. He was making this big deal with the Kaminoans. I'm assuming for some kind of future security, right? I'm assuming there's a monetary, aspect to that. He's trying to set himself up. And so I think we're gonna get a lot of Jango, and I think we'll see Boba watching his father struggle with wanting to settle down and wanting out of the life. Maybe we'll see that he's kind of gotten all the revenge he needs to get. He feels like he's avenged his father, made his peace with that whole thing. Boba, I'm talking about Boba now.
Yeah.
And so the final piece of that template that Jango left is to eventually, when you can, get out. And when you're set up, that's it. You're set up. And I feel like...
Can you get out when you're on top, though?
That's what I'm saying. I think somebody has something on Boba, or there's a reason that's keeping him in the game.
Interesting. And he wants to end the game.
And he's trying to get out. So the whole thing is his one last job, and I think it'll be very revenge motivated. I think he's trying to settle scores, but ultimately with the goal of removing all the obstacles from him just settling down.
Interesting. I like that too.
So we're not far off. We're definitely on the idea of legacy. I think you and I are both in agreement that legacy is going to be a core theme for this show.
It makes sense to me if it's basically the Punisher in the Star Wars galaxy. Because that's basically who Boba Fett is.
Someone with obviously a very skewed moral compass when compared to you or I,
right.
But has his own system of
there is one. Yeah.
Belief and he has his own system of honor and ethics and that kind of thing. Not ours, but he has one.
He has one.
And I think the Punisher is a great analogy for Boba Fett, or not analogy, but parallel character.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, after this episode premieres, we get a trailer in October, but we might have to wait till November 12th. To see anything about the Book of Boba Fett. But if you're wanting to stick on and hear potential spoilers via rumors, I don't know how accurate these actually are, so that's why I'm comfortable talking about them.
We'll give a big disclaimer here before we get into it. But first, if you've made it this far and you're going to hop off before the potential spoilers, thank you so much for joining us for this video. Keepthewatch.com. Look at some of that merch that Alex has, and we got other stuff too. You go check that out. That supports us. Go check out our Patreon, our socials. But we just thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you on future podcasts and videos. So, Thanks. All right.
Cool.
But yeah, as you were saying, this is stuff that's reported from one outlet so far. I haven't really seen any corroboration or anything like that.
But for some reason, there's part of me that believes some of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this comes from giantfreakingrobot.com. So
Right. Not
never heard of them.
Not exactly a pillar of online outlets.
Yeah, never heard of them, but they could be right. So this is what they're saying. They basically say that they have the episode titles. So we're going to talk about what those potential episode titles could be and what they might mean. And then also there was another thing in there that I want to talk about that I really hope is true.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this really should just be taken, this next conversation. Please don't put much weight in any of this.
No.
Like we said, it's from one. We're just talking about this for fun. It could become true, but until we see official releases and stuff, we're treating this completely as, nothing more than a rumor.
If this is true, this would make me think that, okay, we're going to get a trailer sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if someone's sharing this information, that means they expect information to start coming out soon.
Yeah.
In my mind. Okay, so according to their sources, and again, spoiler warning, this could be real, could not be real. We don't know. So if you're hesitant at all, just go ahead and jump off. Just go ahead and jump off. We're at the point now in our careers, I think, that it doesn't really phase us. So
we can't avoid this at this point.
Exactly. It's part of our job. It's our job.
When you have a separate Star Wars Twitter account that you have to have on your Twitter app, you can't avoid this.
You can't avoid it. So episode 1, titled The Champion. Episode 2, The Assassin. Episode 3, The Syndicate. I like that. Episode 4, The Battleground. Episode 5, The Homeworld. Is that Camino or Mandalore?
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Episode 6, The Warlord.
Who's that?
I know, right? Episode 7, The Showdown. Episode 8, The Hunter.
Yeah.
Now, these could all be just guesses because it's like,
this
well,
would be
it's got
stuff
something
that
to do
if
with
I was
Underworld.
going to make up episode titles for all of this,
what
I would
do.
come up with a very similar list, I feel like.
Now, okay, so here is why maybe I'm making a connection in my mind that this might be true, is because we recently just got a trailer for the Nintendo Switch game called Star Wars Hunters. Did you see that, by the way?
I have not, but I'm very excited because that's finally a game console that I actually have.
So basically the trailer was, you had this Mandalorian, you had this person, I don't know if was a Sith or pretending to be a Sith, you got a stormtrooper. Anyway, this Mandalorian is fighting in this gladiator pit type thing, and you pull back and you realize there's all these different worlds, these battle worlds basically on this planet, and people are watching for their entertainment, and this Mandalorian is a part of it.
Yeah.
These titles made me think of that for some reason, in the sense of you got the battleground,
The Champion.
right? The Champion. Is there some sort of gladiator games going on that you see Boba Fett in, which I'm pretty sure he was in recently in the comics, that he painted his armor completely black to fight in very similar things.
Yeah. From the episode titles, that checks out to me. I mean, it could make sense that because I have my own overarching theory, right? I'm immediately working on these titles to fit my theory. But I'm like, oh yeah, maybe he has to somebody has something on him and he has to compete in this gladiator thing to, clear up his name or get that blackmail removed from his path, or maybe he has to there's a massive prize that if he wins this one thing he can retire forever or something like that. Who knows? There could be a lot of different scenarios that get him in here.
Or it's in my theory, and his daughter's fighting in the gladiator games, and he has to join to help, like, kind of protect her too.
Yeah.
Make sure she makes it out alive.
Yeah. That could work. That could work.
That'd be pretty cool.
There's a lot of different ways that could go. The assassin, I think the champion would obviously be Boba, right? So the champion and the hunter, I think, could both be Boba, just at like different, book ending.
Yeah.
And then the assassin, I feel like, is Finnick.
You'd think.
But that could also be completely off, These are just like the most obvious answers, I feel like.
The Syndicate makes me think of basically like the Shadow Collective that Maul put together.
Yeah, Black Sun, the Pikes,
Crimson
that kind of
Dawn.
stuff. Crimson Dawn. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, the report also goes on to say that these will also be known as chapter. Like, it's going to start. Like, the first episode's actually going to be called Chapter 17, as if it's continuing The Mandalorian.
Yeah. And, like, really
that would be
leaning
interesting.
into the Mandalorian 2.5 type thing.
The biggest thing that I saw in this article that I want to be true, and if I could make one thing true out of this, it's this. And they said, according to this, giantfreakingrobot.com, by the way, not me.
Yeah.
They said 2 months ago, we shared that the Book of Boba Fett episodes will contain a massive Mandalorian battle. We learned that more than 30 extras were hired to play Mandalorians. First, Boba Fett will fight these Mandalorians in a massive battle.
Yeah. If
That
that's
again,
true, I was giving it a praise wave. It's yeah.
Please. That would be cool.
Do you
and I'm
think,
not even
Jasper
mad if I am.
Mariel's warband would be 30 Mandalorians?
I don't know.
About that? Would be smaller group, larger group?
Death Watch?
Death Watch?
Children of the Watch?
Mariel's in Death Watch.
And it goes back to the age-old question we've had since season 2. Who was first? Was it Death Watch or Children of the Watch? And
Or
which
they
one broke away
related at
from...
all?
Right. Which one broke... I think they have to be. Which one broke apart from each other? Because if you remember, Death Watch saved Din.
Yeah.
But he's part of Children of the Watch.
So
he's
there's
a child
an
of the Watch.
obvious connection of some kind there. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if... I think the Children of the Watch reformed out of Death Watch and went super conservative, super, we're not going to be a part of the galaxy anymore. We're wearing our helmets all the time. We're going to go back to the old ways because we've screwed this up so bad.
Do you know what's something that I've never thought about? I've always thought of the Children of the Watch thing as an intentional choice. What if they were exiled? What if they were made to never take their helmets off as a punishment, as like a way to shame them? It's like, oh, you don't even get a face anymore.
Yeah, because I always assumed they wore their helmets to avoid the chain code thing, and the face scanners that we see in the Believer.
We always assumed it was like a secrecy thing. But what if that's like what if that's a punishment that was imposed upon them?
Interesting.
And then it's just like morphed into like religious zeal almost.
That would be cool. That would be cool to incorporate that stuff into the Book of Boba Fett, I think. Just because like there is a connection between Mandalorians and Boba Fett. Like that.
Yeah.
You cannot avoid that connection because they're literally wearing the same armor. Boba Fett was raised by a foundling himself, right? Like, Boba Fett probably doesn't consider himself a Mandalorian, but he definitely follows the tenets of Mandalore to a lesser degree than probably Bo-Katan would.
I think he probably considers himself Mandalorian.
You do?
In some way, yeah. Just from the way that he was talking about his armor and Django and everything.
See, I don't know. But is it just because he loves his dad so much too? I don't know.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. That interests me. I hope it's real, but I'm not going to be disappointed if that's not in there or those aren't the chapter titles. We've done this too long to know that could be completely fake.
Yeah,
and it could be completely real.
Yeah, it could go either way. like I know I've been shocked by things that I've put less faith in. So,
do you remember when we saw? Like, I even texted you that image of Kylo Ren and Rey both holding the blue lightsabers up from the Rise of Skywalker, and you're like, "There's no way that's real."
No way.
That was real.
Yep. So we've been wrong before, but.
Yeah,
I would just treat this
it didn't
as a
look
rumor
real
until no.
Well,
I think that'll about do it for the episode.
That'll do it. That'll do, Donkey. That'll do.
That'll do it. Thank you all for calling in and sending messages and all that. I love when we get to hear from you, hear your theories and thoughts. Please keep doing that. There'll be just increasingly more opportunities to call in and stuff as the year goes on. So. I think that'll about do it for us.
Again, if you want to check out our Star Wars Vision content, it's on the YouTube. If you would like to join us for our Book of Boba Fett rewatch, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube and your podcast catcher so you never miss an episode, because we're about to start ramping up. It's Book of Boba Fett season, and we are pumped.
100%. So we'll see you then. But until next time, keep the watch.